Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan, and here basically we are talking about the Congress achievement. That how basically Congress say that we have achieved everything, and mostly basically nobody is going to break us. Nobody is going to break Congress. So that's why basically we have created BJP, we have created Aam Aadmi Party. Means means they are basically Congress. So they have created Samajwadi Party. Then basically they have created Basapa, and like this basically they have created many parties, and like this basically they are ruling the India, and like this basically they have placed around 22 crore Indian nationality people across the world, and like this basically they are trying to rule the world also. So here basically the question is we are talking about the United Nation basically group basically who basically says that we basically do the clearance of each and every group basically, each and every people basically. Here basically clearance basically comes into the people also. For example, one person is going, one person is getting job and another person is not getting job. So why he's not getting the job? Because he's not clear. Both the person basically who is not getting the job, he is more intelligent than the person who actually got the job. So this is basically the partiality also basically comes into the picture, but this is not partiality, this is basically ego also basically, you can say. That is basically called abhiman basically of the group basically who basically circulates the money in the country, in the city, in the states. So that basically is for example, I will take one example. One person basically got the job and he basically is earning the money. He basically assumed that he earned around 1 lakh rupees. Then basically the another person basically he earned the money from share bazaar. That also basically he earned money from share bazaar. That also basically is 1 lakh. Another person basically earned the money from cricket betting. Sorry, the from cricket basically. Cricket means basically the businessman basically. That also basically earned the money 1 lakh. So like this basically here which the money is basically getting issued, right? Nowadays basically the when the basically there was no digital world basically, that time basically if one person is basically getting 100 rupees, then basically in 100 rupees basically it's not written that this is black money, this is white money, it's not written, right? But it's a digital transaction basically. Nowadays the digital world is there. There basically they writes that this money is white and this money is black. So it's a digital world basically. And when the currency was basically getting printed without the digital thing basically, that time basically the human basically was the person basically who was remembering that this is a white money and this is a black money. So that was books basically who was handling that, the currency numbers and the currency thing. But that time also basically the things was getting handled, black money and white money. So here the thing is basically the currency department who issues the money, though that department basically issued the one lakh money basically, and they have basically trademarked that these all money are white and these all money are black. Now here the question is, assume that that company basically who is issuing the money, he is also waiting connected that his owner basically is connected with the cricket. Then basically what will happen? Then that salary basically which that person basically has got, that basically is white or black. So basically here the question basically comes like this, that the person basically who is the owner of the company, that depends, he's basically black or white. So according to that basically the things basically comes into the picture. So the another department, that is basically the tax department, who basically take the tax. For example, in salary basically nowadays I think more than 7 to 8 lakh is a tax free, right? you don't have to pay the tax. If you're earning more than 7 to 8 lakh rupees, then basically you don't have to pay the tax. But if you are earning more than that, then basically you have to pay the tax. So tax department is also there, who basically tracks each and every income. So here basically United Nation basically, if we calculate the United Nation employees, for example, there is one company, they have basically many departments. So same way basically United Nation basically also have employees. But that basically connects to how? That connects to tax department. So tax experts basically, few one or two experts basically in the world basically, they joins the United Nation groups, and they basically handles the each and every tax of each and every country. First they were basically handling the company tax, then basically started, he basically was very powerful, then basically started collecting the handling the city tax, then basically state, country, like this basically he joined the United Nation as a collection of tax. So one of the employee basically you can say he's a United Nation employee, that is basically the tax department. Same way basically the currency department. Currency department also basically have lots of people basically you can say, they are basically doing the currency handling and keeping track of each and every currency data. I will take one example of the currency basically. 1 lakh dollar, sorry, 1 lakh crore basically has invested by the United States of American businessmen to India. So India basically told that, sorry, Indian currency department basically, finance department basically you can say, they basically told that this person basically has invested 1 lakh crore rupees to India. So just print the currency of 1 lakh crore multiplied by whatever currency amount of India is against the United States of America dollar. So that dollar basically is also one story basically how that dollar number basically comes. For example, 85 rupees basically $1. Just taking as an example, basically in real basically it might be totally different. So how this basically 85 rupees comes into the budget, that is also basically one story created by the United Nations basic, that also basically we will be going to discuss. So here basically we are talking about the currency department basically you can say, who says that we basically have to print the 1 lakh crore dollar basically against the dollar basically. So that one money basically they have printed, and then basically they have invested the money as per the business requirement of the United States of America. So just see basically how the United Nation basically is connecting here. So they invested, and then basically the person basically who was into currency department, he basically managed each and every way basically, each and everything basically in the perfect way. He basically was knowing that text box equal to 1,000 cities, and then basically he was knowing that there are basically 11 blood groups basically in this world, and 11 blood groups basically was the honor basically, there are basically physical honor of each and every blood groups, that also that currency department was knowing. So each and every blood group basically, uh, for example, there is one blood group called A positive, right? So there is one honor basically of the A positive blood group, blood cells group basically. So that person basically, A positive blood group basically contains around 150 crore people, right? So this 150 crore comes under this person. So whatever basically blood groups gets, whatever data of the bloods basically gets changed into this person basically, that automatically is going to affect to each and every 150 crore people. So like this, basically the currency department basically told that we are basically printing the currency, and that investment basically done by the American government. Sorry, the American government only basically you can say, because businessmen really can't comes into the picture directly, so they have to go through government only, because government knows that there is like blood group, 11 blood groups are there, 11 blood group basically have 11 honors basically, and one honor basically contains 150 crore people basically, and that 150 crore people basically has to be taken care by this one blood group person basically, and that one blood group person is supposed to be taken care by that country basically, who basically where basically he is staying. For example, a blood group owner basically staying in some Italy country, so Italy country will be responsible for this 150 crore people. So whatever 150 crore people are going to get effects in this world basically. So this one blood group owner basically will be responsible, and that blood group owner assume that staying in Italy, so that Italy country will be responsible for 150 crore people. So just see the how dangerous the chain basically gets generates, how dangerous the chain is getting generated. And like this around 11 blood groups are there, 11 blood groups are there, and each and every blood group basically having different diseases basically. Each and every blood group basically having different diseases, and they have to get the different medicines also. So these all are basically expenses, right? These all are basically expenses of the healthcare departments. So healthcare departments that basically by default takes care of the health. Monetary department basically takes care of the monetary side. Like this basically each and every departments are created by the United Nation groups, because when the country gets creates by default United Nation, that basically United Nation World Bank basically comes into the picture, and they say that we have invested this much money, you can basically rest of a thing basically you can take care of your country basically, your country have to take care of your people basically. So for that basically different people basically gets prime minister gets created, president gets creates, like this basically the chief minister gets creates, if states are created then chief minister gets creates, like this basically generally post gets created. So here basically we were talking about that 1 lakh crore basically was invested by the American businessman to India. Indian currency department told that first basically finance department comes, then basically there are basically the many departments. We are not taking about up to detail basically. The currency department basically comes into the picture, and then basically they print that 1 lakh crore multiply by 85 rupees. That much amount basically gets printed in the Indian currency department, and then basically that are basically invested in how many blood groups basically, the money basically gets invested in how many blood groups. That is the basically main question basically, that basically is decided by the World Bank basically, because assume that businessman basically is selling something, right? Assume that businessman is selling something, so that basically no, you can't say that this blood group person is going to take that thing basically, that blood group this person going to take that. So like this basically the businessman basically says that this is my product, and basically mostly each and every blood group basically person basically will be going to purchase this product basically. In India basically there are mostly 4 to 5 blood groups basically, and rest of blood groups are basically from outsiders. So mostly that's why that basically depends upon when but each and every 11 blood group basically he are staying in the earth planet only, and each connects with each other, and that basically should not get conflict. So that all are basically are also basically the healthcare department basically which takes care, because the earth planet basically is going to generate the energies in the sky. And before that basically I have already taken the example of Krishna avatar basically, every 100 year basically he come his body gets generates, and how basically gets generated, that basically also everybody we have already shown that. So each and every problem basically gets filters, and then that's why basically the healthcare department, for the healthcare department basically the healthcare ministries are there basically. The ministry means basically they are doctors only. They know basically that text box equal to 1,000 cities, and 1,000 cities are basically uh, generating many diseases. So that text box equal to thousand cities, and thousand cities are basically generating many cities. Many diseases that basically we have already saw basically detail of this also basically. So like this basically the things comes into the picture that United Nations basically have two two employees. One is currency department employees, another is healthcare department also basically we can say. And like this basically the each and every department basically in this world basically uh, which is required basically. United Nations says that to rule the world basically whatever things are basically required, that basically we takes into the picture. That basically we takes into the picture. So here basically we were seeing that how the black money basically is getting converted into the white money, because in money basically it's not written, right, that it is black, it is white, it is red black. So this all money by default gets invested into where basically into this 11 blood groups, right, in 11 blood groups. But to create the blood groups basically you have to create the cities, you have to create the states, you have to create the countries. For that basically the United Nation basically comes into the picture. So United Nation basically creates the countries. United Nation basically creates the countries. United Nation basically creates the countries, and they only basically say that they had drawn the boundary, and if you cross the boundary, then basically you are going to suffer. So that basically United Nation rules are there. So if United Nation is telling that if you are crossing the boundary, then you are going to suffer. That means basically United Nation groups also have the bad people, right? Bad people they also have. Otherwise, how they are telling that if you are crossing the boundary, then you are going to suffer. So that suffer basically that was bad word basically, right? Means negative word basically. Negative word means basically you are going to suffer means you are going to get something from the United Nation groups. So in United Nation basically the bad people are also 100% there. So this is basically one of the part basically. In next part basically we are going to see a little bit detail about the United Nation groups and the connection of United Nation groups with India country. And India country mostly basically things are created by the Congress group.